Welcome back, Officers Republics. Your Coruscant Underworld Police Chief APGAINS. I wanted to sit on this very, very important topic for about 24 hours just to make sure I didn't get too emotional about it. If you hear any whining in the background, my puppy is not very happy that he has to be. Sorry, I have too many puppies these days. Not too happy that Boo Boo has to be in the room for us, so he might cry during this video. But the biggest, I don't want to call it spending strike, but the biggest gut punch to Capital Games in many, many years just happened. You guys all saw the Arnold video, saw the Reddit stuff. I kind of want to let that simmer a little bit before I get in here, and for nice little memes, let's just 7-star our Dorito real quick. For the guys who, for whatever reason, are not caught up, essentially the top guild in the game, who, represents tens of millions of dollars throughout the years, and I don't mean the active 50 players have spent tens of millions of dollars. I mean the people that have rotated through that guild over the years. Obviously, people have quit, people have joined, people have left. I don't think it's unfair to say that CAW, the biggest guild that the game has, the best guild that the game has represented probably 10 or tens of millions of dollars throughout the year. So these are the important people. Like in the past, when CG has made decisions and they've had their inside groups and their beta groups and all that stuff, like these are the people whose input they especially care about. So it's coming from a very credible, very influential place. Like if I complain about something, no one really cares. Like, what money am I spending? We did a very regrettable whale on Hondo, and that's about it. So it's not exactly like my voice matters too much. And then there's so many free to play players where we're padding for playtime and stuff like that. But like, if there was ever a group that CG was actually going to listen to, this would be it. And they've decided that they're just not going to play Territory Wars till Labor Day, which is crazy because they're like, I don't know, umpteenth and in Territory Wars over the past. And I don't think you understand, like, when you talk to these people, how seriously they take it. Like, their entire, I wouldn't say their entire lives, but so much of the hours in the day, especially when Territory around, is dedicated to perfecting this to where they cannot be beaten. They're spending more money. They're farming more mods. They have more data crunch. Like, everything has to be perfect for everything to have been so well for so long, to have gone so well for so long. And they're just not participating. It's not like they're like, oh, you don't have to farm data crons, and it doesn't really matter. We don't really care what happens. They're straight up saying that we're not going to participate in Territory Wars. Now, Territory Wars for the longest time has been something that I've not been a relatively huge fan of, to say the least. First Order taunting. Okay, I don't know if I can actually do this one. It's not been something that I've been a super big fan of. I find it to be not dumb, but like the way it's structured right now is the way it's always been structured, is just not conducive to fun, to say the least. Which is not the worst thing in the world, and obviously there have been rumors for almost a year now that they're going to make some serious improvements to the game mode, serious changes in that respect. And I think a lot more end game players have been banking on that. I think the circles that the more whaley people ride around in have definitely pushed that narrative a lot more than, say, the rest of us. But that's not to say that there is no possibility whatsoever that this is going to happen. I think change is inevitable for the game mode. It's a little stale, and I think CG has known that it's been stale for a while, and maybe they're trying to address fixing it, and I'm hoping that this kind of accelerates the journey. But I would like to go back in time to a very contentious time in Galaxy of Heroes that, if you've been around for many, many years, you definitely remember, and definitely maybe pisses you off a little bit. And it's not one that I was super active in the community when it was happening. I've since talked to CG employees. I've since talked to the big streamers and YouTubers that were around and kind of facilitating this, way back in the day, the Cubs, the Urzes, all those people, just to kind of get a sense of like what really was the climate at the time. But they did spending strikes back. Ow! Fuck, my dog is biting my leg. Ow, dude! All right, you're going to be in the video now, Boo Boo. Come on. Boo Boo, your first ever YouTube video. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Boo Boo. He is my Samoyed. He is a piece of shit, and I hate him very much, and he bites a lot. But essentially, there was similar sentiment to the general direction the game was going and the pay-to-play pay-to-win nature of the game. Ugh. You gonna tell him what you think, boo-boo? Me. And there was spending strikes and stuff like that. Now, my opinion on the outcome and the aftermath of all of this has certainly changed over the years. Because originally, like my initial... I hadn't even really known much about it because I wasn't super into the game when it happened. But my first conversation about this was from members of the team who make the game, right? And on their side, they all claim that, you know, these were the times when they made more money because of the spending strike. And it probably wasn't because of the spending strike, but I think the point they were trying to make is that the people who actually like get up in arms about all this stuff, you know, the cause of the world, don't matter enough in the grand scheme of things for them to really care, right? So they made more money when they were supposed to be making less money as like a, you know, like a picket line, don't cross. Like, it's very important that we hold our ground, you know, union labor rights strike kind of thing. And I just always believed that because the person that I was talking to, I had a prior relationship with and had no reason to lie to me about that. Since then, I've brought it up maybe a couple of times over the years, and people have been like, well, they were probably lying to you. And I think it's fair to say that there is a relatively non-zero chance that they could have just been lying about that for PR purposes or whatever. But needless to say, with, you know, developers of other games that I've talked to, it's kind of a similar sentiment to where these community organized strikes never really have much of an impact because, like, okay, let's say this. CAW is 50 people. There's about 400,000 people who play this game. If CAW stops spending money, it's probably different than like a normal guild, right? Like if a normal guild, like my guild, stops spending money, who cares? Like we're like 450 million, like not a drop in the bucket. But you know, there's 450,000 people, give or take, who are playing this game. Many of them are spending money. 95% of them will never interact on Reddit or in Discord or on YouTube or anything like that. So most of the opinions of the masses, we have no idea because we're completely insulated from all of their opinions and stuff like that. So the point I'm trying to get at is these kind of things almost never work against capital games because I think the big the duality of CG, if you will, is very much the people who are actively making the game, like the actual developers and stuff like that. They're great people, right? I've talked to many of them throughout the years. I've known many of them. I've had lunch with many of them. They're fantastic people, right? We give them all the shit and stuff like that. But the people who are actually making the game, designing the characters, making the art, putting the code into the game, they love Star Wars. They want the best for this game. They don't want us to be upset. All that nonsense, right? They're great people. The problem is there are certain entities in any company that have, you know, realistically speaking, only one thing in mind. And it's what they should have in mind, right? Like if you were to have invested in their seed round many years ago, you would want the higher ups to care about one thing and one thing only, returning value on your investment, right? Having the shareholders' best interests in mind, fiduciary responsibility and all that nonsense, right? Like, so it's hard to be mad at anyone when this kind of stuff happens because we're so emotional. It's Star Wars, you know what I mean? Oh, I guess the TIE Dagger is not my strongest ship. It's hard to, like, for me at least, I don't know about for you guys. I'm sure plenty of people just have no problem being mad. I'm almost never actually mad in my real. I was actually mad for the first time in a very long time yesterday, and I'll talk about that at the end of the video. But I find it very hard to be mad at like kind of anyone in this situation. Okay, well that's not happening. Like I'm not mad at the players for feeling like they were slighted because they were. I'm not mad at the developers for making the game that they've made because it's a great game, right? I don't know how over so many years and so many hundreds of kits and characters and synergies and all this shit that there's actually balance, right? This is like if you've played other games, especially in this genre, this is the most balanced game that I've played in this genre by far. It's ridiculous. I don't know how they do it. It's hard to be mad at the executives because they're quite literally doing what they're paid to do, right? Like their interests are not aligned with ours, obviously, but that's not like, it's not like it's a bad thing that they're doing their job. I'm sure if you were doing your job and someone complained, but you were doing a great job, you would be upset, right? So everyone's pissed no one likes each other, and it all sucks. But at the end of the day, I don't think anything's going to change. Because I don't think, I mean, maybe if there was ever a guild that had the social capital to make a change, it was Caw. But even still, like, they would have to pull out, like, every favor, every resource, everything that they had over the years of interacting with developers and playing this game to kind of make something happen. And I don't know. I don't see much happening. But then again, there've been rumors for like a year now that something's already been in the works. So if that kind of thing comes out, I'm obviously going to look like a fucking idiot because they can be like, oh my God, they listened in one day. CG listened and the whole thing is better. When in reality, they were probably working on it for like 6 months or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. This is just kind of, I just wanted to give myself time to kind of marinate in all of this and get down to objective truths of that this stuff almost never does anything, unfortunately. And I don't know what I expect to happen. I don't know what I want to happen even. I've hated territory wars for a long time. Obviously you guys know I hate money-based matchmaking. I think money-based matchmaking is a travesty. But I don't know if anything's going to happen, when anything's going to happen, or what should happen. So, and I promised a little anecdote about the first time I was mad. I went to the dog park yesterday, and it's this gigantic, like, open range dog park where the dogs run around and all that shit. And Boo was like, some lady was like offering Boo a treat, so he's jumping because he's a fucking puppy. He's 6 months old. And then she like grabs him by his collar and like starts choking him and like carrying him off by the neck like he's a fucking baby kitten. And of course I got heated, so I'm like yelling very many profanities at this lady because she's abusing my dog. And then she's like, fuck you, white boy. And I'm just like, I was so caught off guard. I was like, what? Like, you're fucking abusing my dog. Why are you yelling at me? And then she said some pretty, I won't repeat them right here because they're instant channel deletion things that she said to me. And every fiber of my being, I wanted to beat the living shit out of her. But luckily I didn't. But maybe I should have. I don't know. I was just really mad. And it's just weird. Just like, this is the one time I've been mad in a very long time. And I almost didn't know how to process my emotions. I was like so shocked that I was upset because I'm always like happy about everything. I have a very positive disposition on life, very much God is good all the time, and all the time God is good. I'm happy I'm alive and all that shit, even though life sucks. It was very strange. I don't know why I'm even telling you guys this, but subscribe, and I'll see you later.